Hello, everybody. Robert and I are so pleased to be here with you to bring his incredible life story.
Okay.
We've been seeking the right time and place to share not only the conversations that we had with an alien, but also the nearly unbelievable story of Robert's life. We felt all along that Mufon would be the most welcoming group. And we want to thank Karen for this opportunity. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Thank you, Karen. And thank you all for coming. So this story, Robert's life and the speaking with the aliens, was brought to the light because of hypnotherapy. So I'd like to say just a couple of things about hypnosis, although I know that a lot of you have already experienced some form of hypnosis. Maybe it's been quantum healing hypnosis technique, and maybe it hasn't. But either way, if you've been into an altered state and seen something unusual and maybe even helpful, then you already know a lot about it. A hypnotherapist puts people into an altered state of consciousness called theta. We have beta, alpha, theta, and delta. And delta is sleep. And beta is what we are doing right now. The theta state is that kind of out of it place that you reach right before you go to sleep. If you want to delve into the unknown and have a past life regression or a future life or see a life on another planet, you can allow yourself to let go of the analytical left brain and access the right brain, the creative part of consciousness. I became certified as a hypnotherapist in 1994 after I experienced a past life regression myself. Like you'll hear from Robert, I also had a burning question about my life back then. A certain set of circumstances that made no sense in our material world and in my mind should never have happened. The past life I saw explained this situation in a way I could never have imagined. And it gave me grounding so I could actually go on and live my life. In the space of 1 hour, I saw scenes play out that I can still recall 32 years later. One day, I'll write the book about what I saw back then, and I'll call it How to Go On with Life When Your Child is Kidnapped. So before Robert and I start and launch into his story, I just want you to look up here. Some of you have already been up and bought this book from me, and thank you very much for that. This is a book that I wrote with a partner, a client, who, as it turned out, has a great psychic ability to do most anything with hypnosis. And he went into an altered state and went back in time. What he said was 25,000 years. And he saw a tribe in great detail, vivid detail. And this book, it's called Book 1, Discovery of the Legacy series. There will be, hopefully, one day when I get around to it, 2 more books in the series. And so this is the first generation. When I say that they are fascinating as people and as a culture, it's not an overstatement. So if that interests you, the aspect of remote viewing and time travel, then I urge you to get to know Mahela's tribe. That's what we call the people who still live with us. Okay. So, time for Robert's story. This is what you came to hear today. His story actually begins before he was born. And I'm going to urge you, if you're so inclined, this is going to be in story form, this first part. So if you'd like to just close your eyes and visualize as I tell you the story, please feel free. Once upon a time, 2 extraterrestrials, known to us as Greys, entered the modest courtyard of a home located somewhere in the Yucatan Peninsula. They were tasked with retrieving a young woman, a teenager who they had taken to their ship on previous occasions for experimentation, research done on humans by beings of vastly superior intelligence. These two Greys were ancient by human standards. Greys live 3 life cycles of 800 years each, and this pair was nearing the end of their 3rd life cycle, so you could say they were almost 2,400 years old. They had worked as a pair for centuries, and during this time, their 2 primary jobs were, 1, to retrieve humans for scientific experimentation, and 2, to protect each other, their ship, and the scientists, as we came to call the superior beings. They had just opened the courtyard gate when a familiar stench filled the air. Detecting ammonia, the odor connected to reptilians, the Grey in front realized the danger, turned and shielded their partner's body. A bolt was shot from the enemy's plasma weapon and reached the Grey in front, blowing away a section of their torso directly above the right hip. At almost the same moment, the second Grey grabbed their wounded partner and in a split second, launched them both into the beam of light coming from their ship. Enclosed in the safety of the light, they were swept upwards and into the ship. The scientists on board the ship quickly positioned the wounded Grey on the exam table. Injuries from plasma weapons were well known to the scientists, and they recognized immediately that this body was no longer viable. The Grey was barely breathing and would soon be gone, returned to their essence, floating in another state of consciousness, an energy form similar to what we call spirit. The death of this Grey would not follow the normal pattern, however. The scientists, stirred by the Grey's bravery, offered another option. The scientists would fashion a hybrid human, combining the Grey's own DNA with that of 2 humans. Live cells would be harvested from the Grey's body and preserved. A fetus would be engineered using some of these cells, the sperm from a male human and an egg from a female human who would act as a host. The resulting hybrid would live a lifetime in service to the scientists who would manufacture stressors in the hybrid's body and then measure subsequent bodily changes and reactions. The result of the experiment would aid the scientists in their mission to improve the human race by removing 3 of our worst qualities: aggression, hatred, and destructiveness. Achieving this would advance the scientists' long-term goal of saving the planet from human destruction. It was up to the Grey, though, to accept or reject this alternative plan. There was no time to ponder a decision, and the Grey agreed. The Grey would incarnate in human form and live a sacrificial life that could help preserve planet Earth. So, in December of 1965, a baby was born to Grace and Gilbert Nanez in Tucson, Arizona. A baby with DNA from a Grey. And here he is, almost 60 years later. Come on up, Robert.
Thank you.
And then, it's okay, it's gonna be fun. We prepared the following, a little sort of slideshow, so you all could understand the life that Robert lived before he finally decided to investigate the possibility of being an abductee. So this is an overview, just an overview, and you're gonna see some pictures that have to do with his life, the complications he went through, and I think you'll see how his DNA from a gray has informed his human life. Okay. You don't need this, right? So we're going to...
I hope you guys enjoy the photos.
Are we going to turn the lights off now? And St. Mary's Hospital. Is that where you were born? Not really.
I visited this hospital quite a bit.
So talk to us.
I was there constantly.
Talk to us about, well, first of all, your birth order. Where were you in the family?
I was the middle child and the problem child.
And that started when you were a breech birth, right?
Yes.
And you lived how close to St. Mary's, conveniently, did you live?
We were about 2 blocks away.
Tell us the very first time that you experienced the emergency room at St. Mary's.
My dad was working in the shower.
Hold on, I think that's later.
Oh.
The first one is your aunt.
Oh, my aunt was kind of throwing me up in the air. I was under the age of 1, and my head hit a rafter, and I developed a hematoma and had to be rushed to the hospital.
That was the first time. Second time?
Second time, 3 years later, I was 4 or 5. I climbed the ladder, fell off the ladder.
Not the ladder yet.
No, which one is?
No. There's so many. The bottle of aspirin.
Oh, I ate a whole bottle of baby's aspirin and had to have my stomach pumped.
So Robert got the reputation of being a little bit hyper and maybe not listening too much. Actually, it turns out that the deafness, nobody realized when you were that little.
No, they didn't realize. I was born deaf in my right ear. Only 50% hearing, they later found out on the left ear. And even with my hearing aids now, it's very hard hearing.
Yeah. So you can imagine how difficult that was in school when the teachers didn't know he was deaf. So now the ladder.
Yeah, so here comes the ladder. I climbed up the ladder trying to help my father, and I fell off the ladder, and my face hit the track on the sliding door for the shower. So I cut my lip, and I had to be taken back again to the hospital. So it's just one visit after another going to the hospital.
Yeah, it kind of set the pattern for the rest of his life, wouldn't you say?
Very much so.
So what happened when you were 5 and you were playing outside in the grassy yard in front of your house?
So on the southwest part of Tucson, I was playing outside on my parents' yard, and I noticed a light, a blue light, and it kind of went to the right and to the left, and then it did a circle and it stopped. And I was looking at it, and I have heard of UFOs before at that age, and I came inside and I told my parents, I saw a UFO. There's a light, blue light above the house. My parents didn't believe me. They thought it was my wild imagination.
We have another photo. You see it above the tree?
That, I live right by a school, and I see them quite a bit, maybe once a month, and it's always a blue light. You got the one that's enhanced, a little bit bigger?
Later, much later.
Yeah, so you can see it's almost got like a triangle form, and I see this form quite a bit.
But you were accused by your parents of just making it up.
Making stuff up, yeah.
Until what happened that evening on the local news report?
So yes, later on that evening, on the evening news at 10 o'clock, people had called in, and they had interviewed some people, and they said that they also saw a UFO. Well, my parents just looked at me, and I told them, I told you I saw this. But they just thought it was a 5-year-old kid lying and a wild imagination.
So then what happened later, after you'd gone to bed, and let's say it was around 1 in the morning?
Yes, it was about 1 in the morning, and me and my brother shared a room. We had instead of a window, we had a sliding door. My father had built that house.
Not yet. Oh, not.
And
Oh, okay. Well, wait. Well, yeah. Okay, so this is Robert on the right side.
many of you guys might know who the other guy is, Mad Magazine, Alfred E. Newman. So, and that's, family would tease me saying that I look like him. So,
And then the next one should be a light. No, it's not. Okay, we don't have a light. All right, that's all right. You can imagine. Oh, you saw the light.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, this is good. This is actually perfect. Perfect.
So it was probably about 1 in the morning, and I felt something. Something woke me up. And it was similar to this. The grays that I described, they have a little slit for a mouth. They don't have a nose. They just have 2 little slits for his nose. They're not as defined as this or muscular, but you can get the general idea of what they look like. So when I saw this at that sliding, I tried to wake up my brother because I saw him, and my brother wouldn't wake up. And he was almost in through the sliding door.
And what did you say to your brother?
I told my brother, you got to, hey, wake up, Gilbert.
Mojito.
Pardon me?
Remember? Mojito.
No. So my brother's name is Gilbert. We call him Mijito. That's an endearing term. And he would not wake up. He couldn't wake up. So I got scared, being 5 years old, and seeing this big. Later on in life, I described it as a Tim Burton figure, like the Nightmare Before Christmas, the long, skinny arms, skinny legs. So I got scared. I ran into my mother's bathroom, and there was like a little closet in there where she stored the linen. I hid in the bottom. My parents wouldn't wake up as well. So I want to say about a minute went by, and it was talking to me. It was talking to me telepathically, and was saying that it wouldn't hurt me. So I guess I got the nerve, and I went out.
Back into your bedroom?
Back into the room. It was across the hallway from my parents' room, and it was there. I got a better vision of it, a clearer vision, and it had to, the top of the sliding door, 6'8", it had to bend down to come in. So when it was in the room, its shoulders were at the top of the sliding door, and it put this hand out like this, and he only had 3 fingers. And he said, it never hurt me. And
So you took his hand?
I took his hand. And that's the last I know until I met Kryste, and we did a past life regression, huh?
Yeah, well,
Well,
we started with quite an adventure, quite a journey. And then, so your parents still didn't believe you, did they?
no, I woke up in the morning and I told them something had happened. I was afraid. And my parents said that it was the devil, because they tried to instill the fear of God, because I was a problem child. I was always getting in trouble. So my parents tried to convince me that from being bad or naughty, that's what happened to bad kids. But
And in fact, you did have a lot of frightening dreams, isn't that right?
I was always having very frightening dreams. I was always having them. I would wake up screaming as a child, crying, because something was going on. And once again, they would say that you got to start behaving and you pray. So we're Catholics, but it never worked. It continued to happen.
And you told me that you hated going to sleep as
I
a
didn't
kid.
like the night. I hated going to sleep because I was afraid. I was 5 years old, and it continued happening throughout my childhood. I never really slept well.
So back to the hospital. And this one is because of your brother your older brother,
Yes.
who was
Gilbert, he's 5 years older than me.
he was chasing you.
Here's another incident. He was chasing me, and I slipped. So the corner of the wall, I hit my head against it. I split my ear open, the lobe, and I developed another hematoma. I went back to the hospital again.
And then there was a Little League.
And I was playing right field, and the coach hit a ball. So I was stepping back, running back like this to catch it. My foot stepped in a gopher hole. I fell back. The ball hit me in my eye, cracked my orbital, and the stitching on the ball was imprinted in on my cheek. That's how bad I got hit. So I went back to the hospital again, same hospital.
And then in 6th grade, nobody else in the family had the stomach problem, but
I developed dysentery, and I slept in the bathroom for 2 days. And my father told my mom, he's sick, I'm not sleeping. I went back to the hospital, the same hospital. So it's a reoccurring thing that constantly going back to this hospital.
here's the triangle.
Yeah, so that's that enhanced version of that picture that's right by the house, and it's a triangle. Oh, it's just, and it's always blue. You'll always see that blue light by the house.
Yeah. So you see it now, or different ones, right?
Different ones, yeah.
We've got all sorts of pictures later, but then by this time, okay, so dysentery, kind of, you were in 6th grade, and it kind of prepared you. You had a little bit, maybe more weight than you wanted, and
Yeah,
so
I was kind of a chunky kid.
and by the
I
dysentery.
lost over 15 pounds because I couldn't eat, and I was constantly sick.
So in junior high, you were nice and slim.
Yes.
And then we move ahead to high school.
High school. So in high school, I was, well, still short, but I was even thinner. I wanted to play football, and I ended up breaking my ribs. So my brother and my uncle said, come to the gym with us. So I started working out at Carlos Rodriguez's gym on Toole Street, if anyone's familiar on Tucson with that. So I was always strong. A couple guys in the gym said, hey, have you ever done powerlifting? I said, I don't even know what that is. He goes, well, they showed me, and he goes, would you like to compete? It's in a couple of weeks, 6 weeks. I ended up beating the state champion in powerlifting. This is a photo of my last meet. I ended up taking outstanding bench, outstanding lifter.
And next one.
So I won this one, and this was another view of it.
And what did they call you? It seems like you had a nickname.
They would call, at the gym, they would call me Mighty Mouse because I don't look like I looked then. I was very, when you saw the picture, I was very thin, but I was very strong. And I moved up, that picture, I was weighing 111 pounds. And I was deadlifting 300. I was squatting about 280. And that's good for a skinny little kid. So, and go ahead.
No, go ahead.
As time progressed, I moved up the weights. So I went from 114, I won a state champion. At 23s, I won a champion. 32s, 48s, and 65s. I kept winning.
And you won the intramurals too.
At the U of A, they have the intramural sports. And I was invited to go compete with football players, basketball players, all the kids that competed at the U of A. And I beat them when I was a junior in high school. So I was always invited to come compete with them.
And the guys who were competing at your level, your weight, would always say,
Go ahead and tell them.
well, I don't know exactly how to say it, but, you know, nobody wanted to compete with. He was competing, he was going to win. So they would say, can't you go to the higher weight today?
They would ask me in different meets and in intramural meets. It's like, what weight are you competing at? I'll probably be competing at 132s. Can you move up in weight? I can win. I would move up, and I would still take, even though I was In the 132 weight class, I would come in weighing light about 130. I would move up to the 48 pounds, and I would still win that class. It's just I was exceptionally strong, and even being real skinny.
So the reason we're telling you this is because it seems like probably the gray DNA had something to do with his extraordinary physical strength.
Yes.
And a funny thing, since we've known each other, this happened because, Robert, you go to the gym all the time.
Yes.
And you had been lifting weights before some of your surgery. And one day a fellow was watching him and, you know, admiring the fact that he could lift such heavy weights. And he said to him,
"How do you lift so much weights? What are you, an alien or something?" No. That's what he told me, so. Yeah.
So I think we're back to St. Mary's again. Oh, okay, because while you were lifting, you had an accident and you tore, tell them what you tore your, I don't know.
I was getting ready to make qualifying meet for the Olympics that were going to be held in Barcelona. And it was going to be a spectator sport to see if they would draw a big crowd. And I ended up tearing both lateral meniscus ligaments in that meet, and I still took first place because squat is your first, and the powerlift squat is your first event, then bench, then dead. So I had to do 2 more after I tore both lateral meniscus ligaments. I ended up back at St. Mary's again.
And I love it when you said that, you know, the doctor did both knees.
He did both at the same time, and it was extremely painful.
And didn't you ask him how you were supposed to walk?
So I go, "Well, is it going to hurt?" A little bit. He lied to me. It hurt really bad, and it was hard to walk. He said, "You're a power lifter, you can take it." And so I strongly believe that now that, too, because of what's been put in me or how I was developed, I can take a lot of pain. I take a lot of pain, and I can still keep going. Right now I'm in pain with my back, but Kryste will go forward,
get to that.
You'll be finding out.
Yeah. So after this, after high school, you went to college,
Yes.
Pima College, and then U of A.
Then U of A. Started off at Pima, and then U of A.
And so what? You went from psychology to sociology. And at this time, what else happened? It was a big deal in your life.
The motorcycle accident?
No, Monica.
Oh, I had got married, and we're divorced now, so my ex-wife would say that I would wake up speaking in a different language and standing up, and she would get scared. And sometimes she said I was combative, like trying to push someone or fight someone away. So she would get very afraid.
Yeah.
So that would happen.
But nobody thought about it
No, we
being abduction.
Just thought it was bad dreams again.
Yeah.
You know, I've always had bad dreams all throughout as a child. And this was still manifesting as an adult.
Yeah. So a whole bunch of time passed, and we'll jump all the way to 2020, when you read about...
I saw and I read about Betty and Barney Hill and how they were able to find out because they had lost some time when they were abducted. And like I said, it just, weird things just kept on happening, bad dreams, deja vu. And I figured if it worked for them, it could possibly work for me.
And you also had a lot of pain and unexplained events that occurred in your life.
Yes.
Just pretty regularly, going on and on and on. And by the way, I looked up Barney and Betty, and if you're, how many people have heard of them? Because there was even a movie that was made, and it was one period of time. I think it was maybe 24 or 48 hours, and yet all this notoriety came their way, and a movie was made, and so forth and so on, and you spend your whole life
Not
being
knowing.
abducted.
Yeah.
And movie hasn't been made yet. But we'll see. Okay, where are we now? So, yeah. And so, because of reading this and knowing that they discovered what had happened to them through hypnotherapy, you decided to check some things out.
Yes.
But what did you do before that?
So before that, I sought out, in Spanish they call them a curandera, and she's supposed to take evil spirits away or bad juju. So I went to Nogales, Sonora, and when I got to the lady's house, she was out and she looked at me and told me, don't step 1 foot in my yard. And she told me, que te largas. That means get the hell out of here. So that didn't pan out. A friend of mine told me that I could see a babalao priest. There's that's practiced in the Santeria. So there's a Santero priest, and then above him is a babalao priest. So I went to California, and God, I forgot the suburb of it. But I saw this babalao priest, and I got beat with 2 chickens, and he said I had bad energy, and the bad dreams and the reoccurrence, odd things still happened. I also saw a psychic medium here in Tucson. Her name was Raven. And when I met her, I walked into her office and she told me to step back out because she said my energy was like a whirlwind. She had to get used to it before. So I gradually came into the room, and she didn't know that they were aliens. She just said that I'm a magnet because of my energy, and I will attract spirits. So I thought, once again, here it is again with, bad spirits or demons or whatever.
Or the devil.
Or the devil again, yes.
And didn't your family at one point, maybe it was later, have the house cleansed?
Yeah, we had the house blessed. My mom is very religious. You walk into my mother's house, it looks like a church. And that didn't help. That didn't help at all.
So there are lots of icons and...
Yes, religious icons, crosses, pictures of Jesus, the Virgin Mary.
So also the neighbor, your neighbor, you've told me about him. I haven't met any of these people, but...
Well, one passed away, so...
Oh, right.
Yeah,
the
Patrick.
neighbor on the other side, and he had seen...
Yeah, same as... I had 2 neighbors, one that lived right there on the side, and I was throwing the garbage. This was 2 years ago. It was probably in June, May or June, and something told me to look up, and I looked up, and there was this black cube, and it was probably about maybe a telephone post, 2 telephone posts high, and it wasn't making no noise. This black cube was so black, it absorbed light, because at that time, 5:30, around 6, the sun is still quite a bit up high, and it wasn't reflecting no light. And I just stared at it, and it would float. And like I said, it was probably the size of a large car. And I turned to the side, and I saw my neighbor, and my neighbor covered his mouth, covered his eyes and his ears.
And he said...
Don't talk about this, they're going to think you're crazy. Don't mention this.
Yeah.
So, puts you back again, it throws you back. For the longest time I thought I was going crazy because all of these things were happening. My neighbor down the street, his name was Patrick, he recently passed away. I was on a trip from Germany, and my daughter had picked me up, and I got back home. Patrick didn't know. Patrick called me up the next morning and says, "You're back in town. How do you know?" The blue light was over your house. So I was telling these ladies up here in my bathroom, I got a bathroom, and then there's a shower and the commode, and it's got a door. I've seen light come from the top, the top reveal, and through the bottom. Light doesn't bend and travel like that. Light, and when I would see that, you would know that it was the impending doom. That's what I would say. Because this is before I met Kryste, and you know something was going to happen. And you would hear a noise, like a humming. It'd be a... And you knew something was going to happen.
And you were going to probably have an experience
Yes.
that night and wake up feeling...
Exhausted. You wake up tired all the time. Your legs are tired, your arms.
Let's see some of the pictures that Robert has taken. These are just a few of the pictures that you
Yeah, so
actually...
you can see that it's not like the stars on the upper right-hand corner. It's right there in the middle.
And go into the next.
That's a ship.
Yeah. And where was this?
This was northeast corner of the house, out by Mission and Drexel area, is where I live. And this ship is going against the flight pattern, where the commercial airlines come in to land at the Tucson International Airport. So it can't be a plane because it's going against the flight.
Yeah.
And it's low. It wasn't very high. And it was going really fast, way faster than a commercial airline or a military jet.
And I think we have another...
That's another one. That was taken during the day, about, I want to say about 2 o'clock. And that one came, and it stopped. And it was kind of breezy that day, and it stopped. And then it backed up, and then it just took off, and it disappeared. But as it disappeared, it got a little bit brighter, and then it was gone.
And are you seeing this one too from your house?
From the house, yes.
From the yard?
From the yard. Well, right there with we're outside on the front porch.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay. And there's one more.
That was in the front yard. It was hanging around in the front yard, in the schoolyard. So that was right by the house. And like I said, there's the blue one again. They're always blue. The majority of them are blue.
Yeah. So would you say that when you were aware of a blue light, that you felt then that you were going to be taken, or did it turn out that something seemed to happen as a result of your sighting it?
It always happened. When you saw something, it was that impending doom again. Now, if you saw the light or you saw a ship, you knew you were going to get taken that night. And then it's not pleasant. There's no romancing this situation, because it's terrifying sometimes. You know, these ladies were saying, and Kryste says, "Oh, you're brave." No, you deal with it. I'm going to be 60 years old, and I still get scared because of what happens.
Yeah. So we'll certainly talk more about that when we get into the next section. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures, and Robert's told you a little bit about the physical ailments that he's had. And how many surgeries have you had total?
I've had 36 surgeries throughout my body. So, and I almost remembered of one more. So that was last night.
Oh, really?
So all different parts. And my father used to say, "This is not normal. What happens?
No kidding.
Why does so many things happen to you?"
Yeah.
And as a parent, 36 surgeries, you can feel for your son or your daughter or your child.
Yeah, they're still going on. The surgeries, the
Yes.
ailments, the pain, the incredible pain. And you told me the other day that your daughters, when they find out that you've been in the hospital, what do they say now? It's been so many times.
It's no big deal to them, when they find out. My mom will tell them, "Your dad's in the hospital again." And so, what happened this time? Because it's 36 times.
Yeah. So let's look at the next few pictures. Oh, I guess that's just another light.
Yeah, that's another one over the house.
So then let's go on to the next, please.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I've been in 17 car accidents. Not one has ever been my fault. So the airbag went off, and I have both wrists fused. The airbag has gone off twice on my car, and I've been rear-ended. So they had to fuse the wrist because the ligaments and tendons were damaged, and it was the best way to fix
Go on
it.
to the next one.
So that's my right hand. The other one, the previous before, was my left hand. So like I said, I've had them both.
Let's go on to the next.
So it
Yeah.
depends.
Looks like fun, huh? And then the next one.
That's one of those spots that come up. It looks like a blood blister, but it's symmetrical. So I cut it out, and it looked like a little capsule, but it was gel. And then it disappeared. So I've had them on right wrist and the left wrist. So how do you get them in the same spot and they disappear?
And do you find them in the morning when you wake up and
Yeah,
they weren't
you
there
find
the
them in
night
the
before?
I do a routine because I check my body at night to see if there's any bruises, any marks, scratches. And in the morning I'll check them again, and that comes up.
And what do the doctors say about all of this?
They don't know. They don't know what it is. They can't explain it. It's
And I always say to Robert, well, did you tell them? Did you tell them what you think it is?
sometimes there's things that I won't tell them because they're going to say, "Are you crazy?"
Well,
You know,
they'd send you off to the loony bin right
Yes.
then and there, undoubtedly.
you know, like family members. I don't tell some family members because they're going to say that you're crazy. You know, sure, that extraterrestrials are taking you. You know, I can tell people. If you didn't know me, I could say, I robbed a store, or I
Shot somebody or something.
I did something illegal. Why did you do that? You know, what caused you to do that? Or I saw an alien ship. You're crazy. They're more apt to believe you that you did something illegal than having an alien abduction or a sighting, which I have plenty of them.
And then, what's the last one? Oh, this is
So
fascinating.
my barber noticed that I had a lump on my neck. That's the right side. I had a smaller one on the left. So my mom also saw it. She goes, you better go get checked. So I went and saw my primary care physician. And he ordered x-rays. First they got to do x-rays. They got to follow protocol, and then you get the MRI. So they did the x-rays, and he called me in, I want to say maybe 3 weeks later after the x-rays. And he said, you have to speak to an oncologist. You have radiation poisoning. They couldn't see. My lymph nodes were encrusted with nodules. So we ended up talking to an oncologist from Johns Hopkins, and he was asking me, was I in the military? Did I work at a nuclear power plant? And I was like, no. He goes, well, how did you get radiation poisoning? So what do I tell him? The aliens did it. I went up to the ship and they caused it. I didn't tell him anything. So I told him, what do I do? And he goes, well, you got to make your arrangements. Because he had never seen a lymph node encrusted with so many nodules.
Yeah.
So he said, we're going to get authorization to do an MRI. So that took about a month, maybe 5 weeks. By the time they did that, it was gone. So they're meeting again with the oncologist, said, it's gone. You must have someone upstairs that really likes you. That's what his words were. Someone must be praying for you and they really like you. So that disappeared.
And so that was what, 2 months after you'd seen the original doctor?
Yeah. And we found out under hypnosis, right?
We're going to tell them about that.
Well,
You can, go ahead.
so Kryste put me under, and she asked, they said that the ship is constantly bombarded with radiation. They caused it, they took it away.
And yeah, and then there's more to that story. But I think we're gonna stop now with this part of it. I just felt very strongly that it would be helpful for everybody to see who Robert is, what he's been through. I can't emphasize enough how many times I've heard from Robert. Maybe a day goes by and I get worried. I get worried if I don't get a text from you because something has happened.
Since I've met her 3 years ago, what, 4 or 5 surgeries?
Oh, I can't keep track. I don't know how you can keep track of all your surgeries and all the ailments and all the other things that happen in between.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go into that when we start the next section.
And if you guys feel like asking a question, go ahead, ask me.
Well, maybe not.
Or,
Maybe not now,
No.
maybe at the end, unless
Okay.
there's something about any of this that you've seen so far that you want to ask. Sure. Anything? It's.
Well, I have a lot of questions, but I can wait because maybe you can answer.
Uh-huh.
I can't hear.
Oh, she said she has a lot of questions, but she'll wait.
Okay.
Okay, Rick has something.
Have you had any surgeries that you felt had somehow enhanced your abilities as a human being?
Any surgeries you mean from up there?
Anywhere?
And no, but I'll give you one. Was it 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago. I had a massive heart attack.
I want to wait until we get to the
Oh,
next.
yeah, she wants to wait.
I'm trying really hard to rein him in because Robert loves to tell these stories, and it's so important to have listeners because you spend your life wondering what is going on. And so it's very validating and very encouraging to have people listening who are sympathetic and who aren't just going to say, oh, yeah, we don't believe you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you have memories with your buddies up there?
Only through hypnosis.
And we're going to tell you about those. We will.
We'll describe them in great detail. Yes.
How do you look up a hypnotherapist that does this? How did you find her?
By chance and luck. I got on the internet, and the first person was in Little Rock, Arkansas. So he was too far. The second person, the number that I took, was Kryste.
But is it for abductions?
No, I just looked up past life hypnosis and past life that specialize in past life regressions.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So that's what we're going to go into in the second part. I think we're going to take a little break. Right, Karen? Yeah. Okay, it looks like we are back. And so, all those questions that you might have been stifling, hopefully we can answer all of them. And I think we're going to start with,
how I got a hold of you.
yes.
So, like I said, I saw that Betty and Barney Hill were able to find out what went on through hypnosis. So I looked in the internet on hypnosis and who specialized in past life regression. The first number that I got was a guy from Arkansas, so he was too far. The second one was Kryste. So I called up Kryste and I got a hold of her, and I told her a little bit, you do hypnosis, you do past life regression? And she said yes. So we made an appointment.
But what you said to me that day, it might have kind of put off a lot of people, even hypnotherapists, because you remember what you said?
They,
I would have
I think I'm
noticed.
getting abducted. I think
Either that or I'm crazy.
Yeah, well, I thought I was crazy for a long time when everything was happening.
So I had studied the quantum healing hypnosis technique and read so many of Dolores Cannon's wonderful books. And, you know, I have 2 of her Nostradamus books where she has clients who bring Nostradamus through and he explains the real meaning behind his quatrains, his poetry that he wrote back in the 1400s, and people have been trying to interpret all these years, all these centuries. So I had written this book, the discovery book, because a client had gone back in time, 25,000 years. So I guess I felt I was ready for anything. I don't know if I was quite ready for this, but actually, I did. I got pretty excited about meeting Robert, and I wondered, wonder who this is. And Robert arrived and I enjoyed his energy, and I immediately just believed you. There was really never any time when I thought, this guy's a kook. I never thought he was crazy. And you know, we just really become great friends too over the period of 3 years. So he arrived on August 12th, 2022, and it wasn't past life regression that you wanted, obviously, because you felt like you were being abducted.
Yes.
And it turns out that Robert has not had a past life as a human, because I read to you the story of when he was a gray. He has only ever lived as a gray before. And this is the first time he's come to Earth as a human. So, you know, not that we established that right away. That first day, I expected to work with Robert as I did with most of my clients and ask his permission to speak to his higher self. This is what we do in QHHT. The higher self knows everything about the individual, past, future, everything that's going on now and why. So that's what I was expecting. I was expecting to hear from his higher self. Instead, it was very confusing at the beginning, because as I was putting him under, by the way, tell them what you said when we talked about you going under hypnosis.
But good luck putting me under. I had the conception of, you see the old movies with someone with a pocket watch and they're doing this.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of thought or had in my head that was what was going to happen. So I told her good luck putting me under. And then I'm hyper, as you can see, I can't sit still. And hour and 30 minutes later,
He not only sat still, he didn't move a muscle except for his lips. And you went under so fast and so deep right away. I believe that you fit the definition of a somnambulist, which is a term that I've heard Dolores Cannon use quite a lot. Someone who goes so very, very deep. And basically, I think it didn't matter what I said. You were going.
Yeah.
You had your own breathing technique. So I started running through my whole protocol, and relax and feel yourself drifting and going deeper and deeper into the pillow and into the bed, and I realized he's out. So then I began to ask the questions, and it was very unclear who was answering my questions. It seemed as if it wasn't the higher self, so I finally said, "Who are you?" And the answer was, "I am Robert's thoughts." And that always confused me. Thoughts. I am Robert's thoughts. Until, just yesterday as I was going through my notes, I realized that, of course, they would say it's your thoughts because they are talking to you telepathically. And then you would tell me about the information that came through. So the first session we had was pretty short, and it was just a matter of determining what was going to happen and, you know, how to address the person, what questions to ask. It wasn't a past life regression. What the heck was this? And we discovered, remember the story of the two extraterrestrials? He was the one who was shot, obviously, and now the individual who's coming through Robert was his partner, whose life he saved.
He's also the one that retrieves me now.
Yes. So, does that make sense? So, we deduced this as time went on. The first one was kind of, what do we do now? And then this, so that was the 12th of August, 2022. And we made an appointment for the next week.
Yes.
Same time, same day, same time. And it would be a Friday. So on Thursday, I called him just to remind him and confirm. And his voice was barely audible, and he was in the hospital.
I had suffered a massive heart attack.
Oh.
I was working on a roof, and I started getting sick. I was throwing up. I was at my friend's house, so I figured something ain't right. But I started losing the feeling and the mobility of my hands. So I drove home, and I passed St. Mary's Hospital again. So when I got home, I told my mom something's wrong. They called the ambulance. The ambulance came. They hooked me up, and right away they said, "We got to take him." Now at that point, I lost conscious. They told my mother, "We're gonna have to take him to St. Mary's Hospital." And my mom told them, "He doesn't like St. Mary's Hospital." So, we got to take him to the nearest hospital because we don't even know if he's gonna make it to St. Mary's Hospital. On the way to St. Mary's Hospital, I coded twice. First time was 5 minutes, and then the second time was from Mission and Ajo to St. Mary's. They were defibrillating me and chest compressions. I had to have a couple of stents put in. So that was on a Wednesday. On Monday, I was back at the gym. 2 weeks later, I saw the paramedics that took me, and they came up to me and they said, "You made it." I go, "Wait, what do you mean I made it? You weren't supposed to make it.
Wow.
You were that sick."
And didn't you say, okay, so the heart attack was not a widowmaker, but it was
It was on
extreme.
it was the right ventricle, so my ejection factor was only 18. The ejection factor is how much blood your heart is pumping out. So I was barely pumping out any blood at all. So,
Yeah.
and here goes to that thing again, is the pain that I suffered during that, and being able to recover so fast. And
Yeah.
it's just, these things just keep happening and happening.
So what we have discovered, you know, I have to say that I was uncomfortable and not knowing exactly how to proceed with our sessions because I didn't know who I was talking to at first. Then, as time passed, and he came back in September, so he was gone for about 3 weeks and came back, and it was better. It was better the second time. I don't know, maybe, I don't know why exactly, but we started to sort of get into a rhythm. And we discovered over this time that Robert, you know, he had agreed to this deal where he was kept alive, and he was a hybrid, and he would live this life, and he didn't know when he said, "Yes, I'll do it," you know, what pain could possibly occur to you.
I wouldn't have signed up for it.
Yeah.
But in time, I guess I'll just jump ahead to, you know, we 31 conversations in a year. And so around maybe the 9th or 10th, I got really tired of saying the extraterrestrial, the alien, blah, 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 that I was talking to. So I said, let's figure out a name.
Yes.
And you came up with
Fred.
Fred.
So we named him Fred. It was a lot easier than that.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And Fred told us that he had already lasted longer than any other human that they had put through this kind of pain and
Experiments,
and stress. The
stress.
whole idea of this experiment was to stress his body to the max, and then they would experiment and see how the body responded, and then they got their information so that in the future, because he was going to have passing it down. He has 2 daughters, and
Yes.
and so
I have 3, but I have 2 biological daughters.
right. So they carry that DNA.
Yeah.
And there's don't go yet.
Okay.
I know you want to, but wait. Okay. So in other words, so whatever they were discovering with Robert is feeding their knowledge base so that they can meet their goal of taking out those 3 main bad characteristics, not aggression, but arrogance and anger,
Destructiveness.
hatred, arrogance, hatred, and destructiveness. And so Fred said they have these incredibly advanced computers. As a matter of fact, Fred, being a gray, doesn't have any emotion. So I could never get anything from him. It was just all pure, facts, and very, very dry. Sometimes I laughed, but
Yeah.
Fred never laughs. He doesn't laugh. And he doesn't scold, but I felt scolded several times because Fred would say over and over, humans are so primitive.
Wow.
So the computer, or what we would think of as a computer that they keep where they store their information and the results of their experiments, those are so advanced, it's basically just connected to the brain. It's not like us where we have to have a keyboard and all of that.
They have no keyboards. They can interact with the computer telepathically. And their computers are AI. And they see AI as a entity, not as a computer. So they interact with an entity that is artificial intelligence.
So, yeah, time went on, and we did ask very meaningful questions. Some of my friends who I could talk to about it would say, would you ask Fred about our political situation? And is there any way that Fred might be able to kind of like, help out? And that was always a no. Is there anything else you want to say? And maybe we should just actually open it to questions right now. Because there's just so much information you can imagine in 31 meetings.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's a cardiac arrest. Do you remember leaving your body? Some people have a near-death experience when that happens to them.
No, it's peaceful.
Okay.
It's peaceful. I would pass out, and then I woke up, and they were over me, and I remember they were slapping me a couple of times and saying, "You got to stay with us. You got to stay with us," and then I go out again. So.
Can I have my second question? The Greys have this plan to eliminate 3 things: arrogance, hatred, and what else?
Destructiveness.
So, I mean, I just kind of think, well, are the Greys this shining success story? Like, who gives you, like they don't seem to have joy or compassion, and like, what makes, is it just a particular, like, small group of scientists that are the Greys that are like, hey, let's run this experiment, cool, and what gives them the sense of that would be better without persons?
You want to answer?
They're saving us from ourselves.
So if I was gonna say to a child or a horse or whatever, I'm saving you from yourself, that seems like a pretty superior perspective.
Well, and so I'll add to that a little bit. I mean, first of all, the grays are robotic. They're manufactured. And at least that's the impression we were given by Fred. And I just want to say too, I'm not making a religion out of this, what I found out from Fred, what Fred has said to us. But it certainly has turned me, turned my mind and my ideas of what life is and what's possible in a very different direction. But Fred is like a robot, so there are no emotions. They eat once a day, according to Fred, once a day. It's porridge-like.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that he steps it through a straw because the mouth is very small.
Yeah.
The mouth, the nose, the ears, all of the things that we take for granted because we need those senses, they don't need them. It's just a life that we can't really imagine. A girlfriend of mine always said to me, Kryste, play the piano for Fred because I know Fred will love that. I said, I don't think Fred experiences music. Oh no, you try it. You play something for him because I know she never gave up on that. But Fred doesn't enjoy music or art or color or humor.
But he said that I enjoyed the color.
Yes, well, you did. Yeah, but as a human.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, remember we said the ship that I was fascinated how blue the Pacific Ocean was, because we as a gray and the grays that abduct me, their corridor is North and South America. That's the areas that's their corridor. And he had mentioned, remember, that I was always fascinated of the color of the Pacific Ocean, how blue.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but don't you think that does come from their human side? Because they don't supposedly have those senses.
so,
I don't know. There are lots of questions. We'll never have the answers to.
You were next, and then I'll get to you.
Ask, have you ever had any DNA analysis that showed anything different?
No, but my daughter has.
Really?
So my one daughter, we have cancer that runs
In the family.
in the family, heart attacks, diabetes runs rampant on both sides. Well, my daughter did she was donating eggs, selling eggs, and they couldn't find no illnesses whatsoever. She shows no signs of cancer, no signs of diabetes. She's very smart. So they asked, do you guys have diabetes? They did the whole workup, and it says, yeah, but diabetes runs both. It goes, well, it's odd that you show no signs. She showed no types of illnesses,
They like
predisposition
her.
to illnesses.
She's selling a lot of eggs because
So-
she's a good candidate.
They asked her to come in because those were been taken. They already sold them or they used them. My other daughter has the highest amount of Neanderthal. So she shows a high percentage of Neanderthal.
But is it Neanderthal, I think? Or is that just how they label it and it's really alien DNA?
And those are the two that get abducted. My non-biological daughter, she never gets
They
abducted.
get abducted as well?
Yes.
But Fred has told us that he and his partner, he has a new partner, they do not abduct your daughter.
It's the other ship.
There are two ships that always come from this group. And so it's a pair, partners from the other ship that take his daughter. So whenever we've asked about the daughters, how much DNA they have, actually Fred did say that your two daughters have a lot more
Yeah.
than you do. And now their children will have even more.
There will
Because
be
they'll probably
noticeable
be taken
differences
too.
on my grandchildren. So,
And it's a generational thing, generational abduction. His mother was taken 10 times before she actually was impregnated and, you know, was able to continue with pregnancy, right? And your
Yeah.
father was taken 5 times supposedly.
That's what Fred had
This
said.
is what Fred says.
Go for it.
Robert, much of what being a human is about for a lot of us is experiencing emotions. And I'd like, you know, you've got the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual aspects of living. Can you talk about the emotional qualities that you have and how that has been conveyed to your gray beings that you're in contact with and who you once were? And how do you feel emotions play a part in their understanding of what it is to be a human if they want to help us and save us from ourselves? So could you speak about that?
Fred has said that our emotions, human emotions, get in our way, don't they?
You want to tell him about the little romance that you had that Fred decided, no, you have to tell her that she has to leave. Because getting involved like that, it always ends badly.
Yeah, so it seems that I can't.
You couldn't have a relationship.
I'll tell you this. A girl that I was dating, I invited her over for dinner, and when the kitchen window, she looked out the kitchen window, and there was the blue light. So she asked, "What's that blue light?"
Oh my God.
Well, my mother said, "Oh, that's a helicopter." No, that's not no helicopter. So she got afraid and she wanted to leave. She told me the next day, "I can't go over, I don't want to see you no more." That blue light followed me all the way home. So something always happens in a relationship where they experience something.
But didn't Fred say to you, he said, you stop emailing her? Didn't he really just kind of like order it? I have that impression.
Yes,
Of you.
in a way that they won't allow me to get into a relationship, and it just seems that way because they always experience something.
They show up.
Yes, they do show up.
How is it?
In the black hat?
Curious if you ever gone and met anybody and went, I get a connection.
Can you hear him?
Another person that was abducted that also might be in the same circumstance?
I've met someone with a connection.
If anybody else, have you met anybody else who has, are you talking about the same connection with Fred?
No.
Oh,
No.
another human that might have been abducted?
Yes.
No, not here. There was a couple of the
Yeah.
lady that was sitting right here next to, and then
Oh,
you
yeah, Olivia.
have been, yeah. So there's 2 people. I hope I'm not throwing you under the bus, but
But I was just
no,
wondering if like right away you recognize that or not.
no.
Get a feeling inside like, oh, I know this
Yeah.
person has too.
Yeah. Oh, the lady with the hat, and then I'll come to you.
When you're answering some of these questions and it's like, well, Fred says this, or this is what they told me, or this is what I had to do. There's this thing on Earth here, and it's called we have free will. Did they tell you about that? You might be able to break.
Free will. She's talking about free will. Okay,
You
well,
might be able to break some of these contracts.
no.
and have
Fred
free
and
will.
I have had several conversations about this
Yeah,
because it became obvious to me right away
yeah.
that Fred was defensive. We don't harm Robert. We will never harm Robert.
Torture. Yeah, he said that.
Because I would use the word torture.
Yeah,
You know, Robert's being tortured.
yeah.
I mean, they make him so that he will only sleep 2.5 hours a night for weeks. That's torture. It makes you go, talk about going crazy. But Fred says,
You
we
can take
won't,
it.
we won't hurt him. He can take it. Other people have been experimented upon and have not lasted as long as Robert has. And I say, but wait a minute. Robert would really like to be able to say, okay, that's enough. I have sacrificed, I have given, and I would like now for it to stop so that I can have a peaceful, quiet life. And Fred just says, he
Can take it.
agreed,
Yeah.
and he can take it. And that's it. And we are not torturing him.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is what he signed up for.
I train horses, and plenty of people would say that about the horses. Oh, they're fine, and you can see that they're not.
Well, part of it, don't you think part of that disconnect there, when I say that he's being tortured and Fred says, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Well, Fred doesn't even conceive of what that is like.
But you don't ask your abuser for permission to stop the abuse.
Right.
You demand it. And that's what, here on earth, we have free will.
But he was his partner. And
I
they went into
know.
a contract.
It was a contract.
It's a break contract.
Well, you know, if I knew, or if he knew how to do that, how to go about doing that, change your energy, I don't know. But I'm not an expert in that.
You can find it.
There have been quite a few suggestions, actually, and somehow it doesn't work.
No. They're gonna take me regardless. You were next.
Well, then
Oh.
All I was gonna say is, health-wise, everything that you've been through, you know, I would wanna say, under hypnosis, how much longer? Is it, I mean, you say my body can take it and I'm strong and whatever, but like you just said, why won't they let you, I mean, yes, the contract or whatever, but you've served longer than anyone other human with this whatever, why not let you have a semblance of your life?
They have more experiments to do.
I mean, and another thing, under hypnosis, couldn't you say, please allow me to sleep at least 4 to 5 hours a night? I mean, you know, we all need to sleep.
It's you know what, it's not like he has a direct line that he can always just go to and say, okay, now I want to talk, and this is what I demand. Hello?
It's
They're
up to the
advanced.
scientists. So on the ship, there's 4 Greys and there's 5 scientists. The Greys don't really interact with the scientists, the ones that we have named the scientists. So they have no say. Like, they just retrieve, they'll protect the ship, they maintain the ship, but it's all up to the scientists. We have never spoken to a scientist.
I asked once, I said, would it be possible to have some conversation with one of the scientists? I don't know, maybe that, but I did. And the answer was, oh, no. And as a matter of fact, the scientists don't know that Fred is actually speaking with us. The main concern that they have about the experiments in abducting is that it not be influenced by anything outside, because that would change everything about the experiment. It would no longer be pure. And Fred always says this has to take time. Time is different for them than it is for us. It has to take time because it has to be perfect and it has to be clean. So no outside influences. But Fred is more than willing to continue to have conversations through Robert. That's ongoing. Karen came and observed once, asked some very good questions.
Go ahead.
So this is two-part, the 3 things that they want to remove from the human race. When are they going to do it? When are they going to start? and they have no time frame. And how are they planning on doing that?
As Robert just said, the Gray does not know. There are a lot of questions I've asked that the Gray just says, that's not for me to say, that's the realm of the scientists. Fred is rarely in the room when Robert is being worked on, experimented on. And so Fred doesn't really know what's going on. He said so many times, I retrieve and I protect.
He tells you quite a bit. You're asking a
You are asking a repetitious question because I always keep coming back to, but he's really needing to have a break. That is a repetitive question.
Yeah.
He's going to continue.
Yes. How does the idea of a cosmic creator and your own higher self come into this? I mean, I believe in a cosmic creator that maybe allowed the Greys to be created in the first place, or the scientists, whoever they are, another race or whatever, and you
Do you believe maybe you have a higher self that could help you counteract the grace? You know what I'm talking about. A higher self. Could you talk to your higher self through this woman?
So my higher self was a great.
No, well, I'm talking about your higher divine self from divine creator.
You mean
Now, I don't know if you believe that.
source?
I think that's just, that's, you know,
source.
her idea.
Divine
Yeah.
source.
So
Our free will, what she was talking
how would I?
Well, I know that you've said many times that you were raised in a Catholic,
Yes.
you know, religion, and you would like, it would be nicer and easier, you know, living every day believing what you learned in church. But
about. But I'm
now,
not talking about religion, I'm sorry.
well,
I'm not
that's,
talking
but
about-
that would be his, that would be his,
It's something beyond.
his authority.
Spirit, yeah.
So beyond the grays, and we learned this through Fred, is where they got their knowledge, their, how would you say, their academics and everything, their science, their medical, their advanced technology was from a previous race.
Previous race.
There's another race out there that is more ancient than them.
Do you know what it's called?
They don't have names.
They don't.
This is another thing, they
Yeah.
don't have a name for their planet, they don't have a name for their outposts, and they don't have a name for each other. No names.
They-
How about the scientists? Who are they? Where do they come from?
We've never asked, we don't know. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we don't know. We've never asked where they come from.
Oh,
Well, they have an outpost planet,
Yeah.
but their home planet, which when I was a gray, I've never been to that. I've only been to their outpost planet. So it's, their concept of time and space is way different than ours.
Oh, yeah, that
Where-
doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
an illusion, actually.
but Fred did tell us that it would be between, okay, so it's Orion,
It's Orion's belt, and it's from the center to the left. We travel through there, and there's a gateway through there.
to their original planet. But neither Fred, or I'm getting the idea it's a scientist too, but I'm not sure, has ever been to that original planet because they go to the outpost. It's a lot closer.
What did you say, it was 400 light years, something like that?
I don't remember. It's something to look up.
Yeah.
This would really bother me.
Go ahead, you take this. It's Gallagher.
Oh, okay, the guy.
How present are you, Robert, when you're talking to Fred? Or do you have the ability to videotape and see yourself?
How present are you? We record every session, but just audio. I didn't get the idea to set up the video.
What-
We tried a couple of
Yeah.
times to set up a video, and some very strange things happened. Like a message came on the
tell me
screen.
about it.
You tell because I think you remember better than I do.
So right after I had my heart attack, it was on my phone, huh?
I think so. Yeah. Yes, it was definitely.
When
on
I
your phone.
go under, I don't know what's happening. And if she doesn't tell me to remember, I don't remember. So I don't know what's happening. She told me that on my phone it said heart monitor. I don't have a heart monitor on my phone.
Wow.
And it came out in big bold font, huh?
Yeah, and one of my girlfriends was there watching too, and so she saw it too. And I'm going, what does that mean? Now on the screen, it was supposed to be a video of him, and it just said heart monitor, and stayed there for a while. So
Was that before your heart attack?
That was after my heart attack.
yeah, that was quite a time after it. I
That
don't
was-
believe
that was
it
after.
was connected at all. It's just like they didn't want maybe.
I'm
us
gonna
to
go over here and
videotape.
then I'll pick you,
I don't
okay?
know.
And I gotta say since I don't sleep, I average 2.5 hours, maybe 3, and that's every night, and I wake up hyper. So there's been, remember I told you on my TV, it says, welcome, Robert.
Wow.
The cable is under my mom's name, which is different, so, and it came out, the TV was off, it wasn't on, and it came out with big white font, welcome, Robert.
So many things have happened that are totally we're not able to explain. For instance, after that first time we met, and then you had the heart attack, and then we met again, I was just reading my notes again,
Yes.
and you were telling me that you had had an experience where you knew that there were beings touching your body, and you knew there was more than one because there was the sensation on your legs and
You
on
feel
your
the
arms.
3 fingers. They have 3 fingers. You can't move, you can move your eyes.
Hold it up.
And I'm sorry, I'm sorry about but you feel 3 fingers. You can feel them on your legs and sometimes on your forearms. You'll feel 3 distinct fingers.
So I asked if you saw the beings, and your answer was that you were just barely aware, and it was very hazy and misty. So there was no identifying opportunity.
I've even heard them, and they sound like a raccoon. They make that noise, and you want to tell them what Fred said.
You tell them, because I'm not sure.
The raccoons. Why does he call us effing raccoons? Under hypnosis,
That's right.
Fred actually asked you a question, right?
Yeah, every once in a while, Fred will say, I would like to ask a question of you now. Very polite.
And he said that, why does he call us, excuse my language, fucking raccoons? the girl in the green, because you've been waiting.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
I have 2 questions. One is, are they experiencing battles, like, still, like, how you initially died as being a gray?
We've never asked, but we do know that the reptilians, they don't get along. He's also said that the reptilians are working with our government, and they benefit more from our government, and the government will benefit from them.
And then
Because they don't tell the truth to the government.
yeah.
They mislead them. That sounds like good news to me.
Yeah.
And does Fred ever talk about them possibly being a past version of us that they?
He's never mentioned that, huh? No.
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 And then, so once I asked Fred, twice I asked Fred, I got this idea that, Robert has seen them. He knows what a gray looks like. Oh, and then we haven't told you this. I've definitely put Robert under to go into his life as a gray and to be on the ship, and he's done that, and he's seen such incredible details about the ship. Then he's gone back, evidently centuries, to such an early time on the planet, to see, what, maybe try to get an idea of what era that was, and what kind of people, beings there were. And he saw some very, very interesting things there too. So he's done some past lives. He's seen himself as a gray. He knows what the other grays look like, and I don't. And so I asked if Fred would maybe show himself one day. Doesn't that seem like a logical thing to ask?
Yeah.
And Fred said, no. Just no. And then of course it made sense, because if the ones in charge on the ship, the scientists who are so much smarter and do all the experiments, if they would notice if Fred left the ship
But
and incarnated in my living room.
but you said, he asked you, do you really want to see me?
Oh, okay, yeah, so the first time I asked him if he would, and his answer was, do you really want me to?
And you said one time that
And
you asked to speak up, and I moved.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. And I said, I thought about that, do I really want him to? And it struck me that if Fred incarnated once in my room, my living room, then maybe he would decide to come back another time, like when I'm asleep at night, or whenever. And so I said, no, I don't really want you to.
Yes, you had your hand up a few times, I'm sorry.
So I'm thinking about how you said that the grays were manufactured. And then you
Grays
have-
manufactured.
I'm thinking about when you said that the grays were manufactured,
Yes.
and then also the experiments that the scientists are performing.
Well,
Go ahead.
the scientists are experimenting
Experiments.
on humans for a very, very specific reason. And
For what reason? Are they trying to figure out the human experience?
they're trying to save the planet. And once I made the mistake of saying to Fred, okay, so you are actually helping the human race to advance. And Fred said, no. We are making this effort so that humans won't destroy the planet. And that's why they would take out those 3 qualities, because what we're doing is destroying the planet.
So back to them being manufactured, could they possibly be another form of AI, these manufactured grays?
We've never asked that. We've never asked that.
You know, I'm not very
That's a good
tuned-
question.
I'm not very tuned in to the AI thing, because it seems so remote to me, and I don't really know what to do about it. So I don't bring it up.
I'm gonna get you with a hat, and then I'll come to you, and then
I wanted to know what you know about these scientists, if anything. Are they advanced humans? Are they different types of gray? Are they different species of alien?
they're very similar to Fred, the taller gray, but they're short. They don't. How would I? Remember, Fred said it. They stick with themselves, and then the taller ones are by themselves.
Yeah, they don't
have very
socialize.
much interaction with them.
They don't socialize anyway.
The short
they-
ones run the show.
Yes, they're the ones that run the show.
But that's only on the ship. There are superior beings who inform the scientists.
And are they all grays? Or are they?
Who
sense of
knows
what
who they are?
So,
So, of the million
Good
questions
question.
we all probably have, one would be, so Fred and this other group, the other group of grades with your daughters, hopefully they avoid St. Mary's. But-
Hopefully they what?
Hopefully they avoid St. Mary's.
Oh.
But, so how many groups of grades are performing independent? You know, if Fred is saying, okay, I'm doing this, is somebody else doing that group of experience? Is somebody else doing that group? So how many groups, and is it just grades that are working with humans? And kind of lighthearted is, you know, tell Fred you want the keys to the ship, man. You want to take a, you want to take that thing for a spin when you're up there. But, because Dr. Greer has talked about any number of ET civilizations and races all being kind of peaceful to his experience. How many are there? You know, compared, so you know the reptilians, but.
Fred mentioned there are as many different extraterrestrials or aliens as there are races on this earth. That's what he has told us. The ones that, so there's Fred and his group, they take me. There's another ship that they abduct my daughters or take my 2 daughters.
Is Fred aware of any other civilizations or ET
Yes.
civilizations that are
Yeah,
also working on humans?
and they have shared information.
And sometimes they go to under the ocean in between times. Remember that? And the reptilians are there.
Off the west coast, up by San Francisco, there's a chain of islands called the Farallon, and that came up. So they're by the Farallon Islands.
Also, remember in 2023, was it February or March, when when Fred told us that he was going to have to leave and there would be a substitute?
Yes. He said that I would cuss them out a lot, huh?
And so that happened, evidently, because Robert sensed a completely different energy from the substitute, and they were not nice. They were not kind. They mistreated you.
Yeah.
They hurt you
Yes.
when they would take you. Because I remember it was like, come on, Fred, we need you to come back. Because Fred was gentle. Fred,
He was gone for about 4 months, huh?
was it 4 or 3 or 4?
3 or 4 months.
So there, I don't know how many there
don't know.
are.
I've got a quick question. Are you willing to go into a hypnotic state, Kryste? Can you take Robert into one for like 10 or 15 minutes?
Well, I think it's
You
I
said
think
he's
it's
very
past
easy
time.
You said it's very easy to.
You would do it, wouldn't you?
We would love to see that happen. Can you?
Well, you know, it's time, isn't it? I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah, I mean,
Ian?
you could have like 5 more.
But you know, usually it's a soft, cozy, comfy couch, and
Can you give it a whirl?
Maybe on the next one.
Okay.
I'll come back, I promise.
you know,
Like
you know what we could do though is we could arrange to set something up. Because Robert, you've always been so open about people coming and watching. You could come to where we do this, or we could arrange to have a bigger room than my living room, even though it's fairly good size.
I've met you before.
Speaking of races, if someone said, what are you? Would you identify yourself as human, a gray, or a mixed breed?
Sometimes I say, there's times where I say, you know, it's our ship, and but I'm a human. You know, I have feelings, and I don't want to be cold. I want to have compassion. I want to see this earth flourish as much as they do. And I want to experience love. I want to experience peace, tranquility, and that's not really happening in a whole lot. But I consider myself human, you know.
Well, I can attest to that. So the conversation had been about the future of our planet. We're getting to be, and this is, everybody knows this, we're having more extreme heat and more extreme cold temperatures. And Fred said that these experiments help to prepare humans to be able to withstand the extreme temperatures. And
The environmental changes that are going to be going on, that the humans will be more apt to cope with these stresses, environmental stresses, mental stresses.
And so we were saying, okay, so his daughters, the 2 biological daughters, are getting this, are being changed, and so they will survive. And I have a son, and he's not getting taken, as far as I know. He would not agree to even discussing that.
Yeah.
And so Robert, remember, you became so emotional at that. It was really, I mean, all of a sudden the tears are streaming down your face because you go, but I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to think that your son won't have this opportunity. So I would say that, you know, certainly there's no question that the human, the human emotions are alive and well in
I also
Robert.
got emotional when I found out that we were taking that young girl multiple times. And I felt bad that was she going through what I go through now. And I felt bad for that.
Backing up a second, also, so your daughters are totally aware of your situation and what's happening to them, and is it gonna take her away and get maybe her eggs there, or how is all that working?
My youngest one sells her eggs, so that benefited the aliens because they keep selling them. They have asked her to come back because she shows no predispositions to illnesses. She's got a higher intelligence. I'm not gonna brag, my daughter's very good looking. But that's what people want when they want to have a child and they can't produce an egg themselves. They want to have, no predisposition to illness.
Doing that here, or on Earth, not in the spaceship yet?
Yeah, here in like Phoenix, she
Yeah.
goes to Phoenix and there's the whole setup.
They were harvesting her eggs there.
So I think my middle child, she gets taken as well, so they're probably taking her eggs as well, or manipulating them.
Well, you mean the space, on the spaceship,
Yeah.
they're taking eggs,
Yeah.
but his daughters, I think your question was, do they know? But I think you would say they don't know.
They don't want to know. They're afraid. They're afraid.
But they have seen the gray, they've seen,
I've never told my daughter what they look like. My youngest one, her boyfriend told me, and she had told him. She said they come down in the tube, a blue light, and she only saw them from this point down. And she described exactly how I see them, with 3 toes. They look like they have a latex suit on, and it's bluish gray. And they'll travel through the house. I haven't answered a question from you, so I'm gonna.
that's Gail. Gail?
I'm assuming that Fred knows pretty much everything you're doing,
Yes.
so he knows you're here today telling us all of this.
He sees what I see. Since we were partners, we have, how would you say it?
Well, it's a connection.
We have a connection, so he can experience, I believe, what I experience. I'll give you an
Example.
example. You said that, because how would he know about Santa Claus through me?
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
The one time that we thought that maybe he had a little sense of humor is that, I don't know how we got around to the subject, but Fred, I think he
He
said,
asked you a question.
I have a question for you, Kryste. He doesn't call me by name, though.
No,
Well, anyway,
no.
for you. Why is it that humans will believe in a man in a red suit driving a sleigh pulled by reindeer, and they won't believe in us?
And he only shows up one time a year.
Yeah,
And
he only shows up one time a year.
Their technology is primitive.
So he's okay with your being here and telling us all of this?
We asked that question early on. Is it okay? We want to tell people, and Fred said it's okay, as long as it doesn't change the outcome of their experiments.
Go ahead.
Are they gonna reveal themselves publicly to her?
They haven't revealed themselves to me, so I don't
know, I'm
think.
just wondering, do they say one day we will let everyone know what's going on?
You want to tell him?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure I remember exactly if they're going to reveal themselves, but what Fred has said is that in the not too distant future, the new humans coming in will look considerably different, and it will be very clear that the human body has been filled with. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I had a question when you were talking about the radiation, and
Yes.
Fred had said that the ship is being constantly bombarded with radiation. Is that
They
due
have
to our
decontamination
atmosphere?
units.
Oh, that's due to them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how they got rid of my radiation poisoning. Through a session, we found out, right, that they had put me in a unit and it decontaminates you.
And years ago, I worked with a woman who saw herself on another planet far away. And she and several others had come to Earth, and Earth was at that time in the future completely deserted. There was no life left. And they were risking their lives by coming from that planet and looking for something specific on Earth. And so they were contaminated. And what they had in their individual ships were the decontamination chambers. So that they went back into, but they, according to her, if I'm recalling this correctly, it was a long time ago, but they all died because they evidently couldn't take away all of the radiation poisoning. So that was her future life. Was a future life that she went to.
They don't let things happen to me. I started getting sick. I had to have 13 inches of my colon taken out. I got very sick. I was septic. And I had to have an 8-hour emergency surgery. And the surgeons told my mother, if he wants to live, it's gonna be up to him. But he didn't have a fever. So we can't figure out why he did not have a fever, but yet he was so ill. So they let things happen, but then they won't let me.
But then they heal you.
And then they heal me. So,
That must be very exciting.
yeah.
And then when you see those things, are they long like that when you see them?
I've seen this one once, and it's, like I said, it's over the house, but I see that blue light. I was in the Chiricahua Mountains, and it was probably about 8:30, and there was a blue dot, and that blue dot would move. The little boy that was with me, he goes, "What's that?" I said, "That's a star." There were other people that were there, and he goes, "That's no star, tell him what it is." So other people have seen it. So, but it's, like I said, in my bathroom, there's the blue light coming, the blue light outside the kitchen window. That's always that. And
I just take his word for it because I've never seen the lights.
Yeah. So that they said that it's hard. The energy that puts out got to be put out for a blue light. It's not a star. So, anyone else have a question?
Well, can I just interrupt for a minute? So, I'm writing this book, 31 Conversations with an Alien, and basically it's the recordings and then all of the things that happened in between times that we discussed. Sometimes I was smart enough to turn the recorder on, even when he wasn't under. And so we have lots of information from his, real life experiences. So anyway, 31 Conversations with an Alien, it should be out hopefully before the end of the year. And if anybody, I know some people have put their name and email address down so that if you want to be told about, it's okay, it's done, it's coming out, and then put your information here, and I will let you know when the book is finished.
Nice. I have a question for you, Kryste. As a QHHT practitioner, I guess I thought that it was, from hearing many of Dolores's transcripts and then her students, that there is this superconscious or higher self that actually has come through and continuing a conversation through different people. And when it speaks, it's very wise, it's very compassionate, it has the ability to heal things within the patient, that they're either explain why is the suffering going on and kind of help find some resolution. It just has a different voice. Are you able to say, hey, okay, who's above you, and who's running, who's manufacturing, ask for,
Ask Fred?
more, not Fred, go beyond Fred, let's go beyond CNN, let's go beyond whatever, this is the information source, and see if we can reach a higher source.
Dolores, this was part of her originality, was having this higher self that knows about each individual. So it's not that the higher self from Robert or from me would know about everybody, right? It would just know about the individual. That's what I was taught when I went into the level 2.
I heard Dolores talk about that what she discovered was this, it was like a continuous conversation. There's one person, and then this message is coming through to her.
Well, that's what happens with Nostradamus. He's come through 3 different clients of hers, because one moves out of town and she has to find somebody else, and Nostradamus comes through them. But if that's what you mean, but it's not a higher self. That's from the 1400s. He's living in that time, and he's talking to Dolores in 1980, whatever it was. I have 2 of those books, and they are fantastic, and they have such amazing information. All of Dolores Cannon's books. if you're interested in anything having to do with the future or the past or.
We'll take one more, and then I think we gotta go. Go ahead.
Get her books.
What you're doing, man. You got a lot of guts from here.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Go back and bore you guys.
The question that I have is I have a friend who's, she's 75 years old, she lives in the state, I won't say her name, but she's gone through many things that you have gone through, just slightly different. Have you ever heard from anybody, say the other realms, extraterrestrials or in the hypnosis, that your soul itself also came here to color the soul, so that when you go back to your other lifetimes or when you're traveling throughout the universe, that you're capable of experiencing a lot more because of the pain and the experiences that you've had? It's kind of like you're almost like a stronger warrior. Because the reason I asked that is she was on an airplane not 2 years ago, and Yeshua came through. She said, "Why all the suffering? Why all the pain?" And he said, "Sherry, you didn't just come here to experience life as a human. You came here to feel all the pain, the suffering, so you had more compassion and you quote unquote color your soul." Did you ever hear that from from Fred or from anywhere else, that you're here to color your soul so that in the event that you were to travel throughout the universe, you have a stronger soul, you can take more and more compassion? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And whenever I've mentioned the word soul or spirit,
Yeah.
Fred corrects me.
Okay.
It's an energy form.
And-
That's what he refers as an energy form.
Okay.
And he said that
He talks about us having an energy form. He says when the scientists decide that they've done enough experimenting on you, then they will take him and he will go, his energy form will go with them and go back. Should we tell them the
Go
rest
ahead,
of it?
Yeah.
That you're coming back?
Tell me.
Well, and supposedly there's a plan for when they want to send him back. But the next time, oh, this is funny. Can I tell about tall, dark, and handsome? So Robert has said, Kryste, please ask Fred if the next time I come back, if they would make me tall, dark, and handsome.
It's true, right?
And so in the future after that, Fred would say to me, I have a question. Why does Robert keep saying that he wants to be tall, dark, and handsome? What does that mean?
He thinks with the higher intelligence should be enough. No. But he said your energy form can go where it wants. If you want to go out the universe to another one,
Right.
you can. You want to come back, you can.
And also, what I really loved that Fred said is that whatever religion you have, for instance, my parents really believed in heaven. My mother, she was going to go to heaven. And so Fred says, whatever your energy creates for you, whatever you believe in, that's what you will have. That's where you will go. That made more sense to me than everybody goes to heaven or hell. But, no. Does that answer? Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
And if you're interested in going to lunch, I made a reservation for 12 people at Brother John's right over there.